Welcome back to Mac Talks Football. And Manchester City have started their summer transfer business. They have made their first opening bid to Nottingham Forest for Elliot Anderson, which was quickly rejected by Nottingham Forest because it was well below their expectations and valuations of Elliot Anderson. And it was expected. Let's be very honest. Here that it was going to get rejected. Nottingham Forest are not going to sell Elliot Anderson for a cheap price. Manchester City knew about that as well. I think they sent this first bid, which is, if I'm not wrong, it's still in undisclosed amount, but if the reports are to be believed, it is around 45 to 50 million pounds. And I just don't see Forest selling Elliot Anderson for 50 million. They have him valued at 100 million pounds, which I just don't think he's a 100 million pound player. I think that the demand is quite high, and I think if the deal is going to go through, which I think it is going to end up happening, I think it will be around that 80 million pound mark. I think that is going to be the deal that is going to get agreed to. The reason the might price might increase is because United are also interested in Elliot Anderson, and it could turn out to be a race between the two Manchester club, and that could really drive the price high. City have taken the first step. They've formally sent in a bid, and they've trying to get the personal terms agreed with Elliot Anderson as well. United have not really try and openly have a go at this deal. As I said, they have not made a bid and whatnot, but they are really really interested to bring Elliot Anderson in. I think it will be a great deal for both of the clubs, whether he goes to United, whether he goes to City as well. But United have already bringing in Anderson as well, so trying to bring in two midfielders in the same in the same summer, that might not be viable for United, because their midfield already they have too many midfielders in that squad. But again, if you get a chance to bring in a player like Elliot Anderson, you are going to take that chance because he is a great midfielder. A City, on the other hand, they need a midfielder. They Bernardo Silva is leaving. That's going to be a huge blow to Manchester City. Rodri, the injuries are there. That the injury that he had last season, he has not really fully recovered from it, and he keeps on getting injured. They brought in Reinders. They want to let go of him this summer as well. He has not really worked out for them, and you can question again Manchester City how they can bring in a player like Reinders for about 50 million pounds. I think it was last summer, and now this year they want to sell him off, and nobody is really asking the question. But they are going sort of a transition, and I'm surprised because and this is why I said it was the world's worst kept secret that Guardiola was going to leave, and Maresca was already looking at targets, because we have known about this Elliot and Anderson things for about 2 or 3 months now, and Maresca would have known that he had, it might be possible that he's the one who has identified Elliot Anderson as a target, and he's already in the process of getting the players that he wants, and that is why Manchester City have made the big so early and so quickly to get a head start on this deal. If I'm Elliot Anderson and I'm looking this scenario, I personally would wait. I'll be very honest, I would wait, and I would weigh my option in. I can, because he can go to City and he can go to United, and he would start for both of those sides with the midfield that both of these sides have. I think he starts, over Anderson. He starts over Kobe Mino. He starts over Casemiro. Is already leaving. The only player he doesn't start over is, Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. At Manchester City, again, the midfielders that they have, I think the Rodri is the only one he doesn't really start over, but he can play alongside him. They need, that is why I think he can wait, and he can decide if United decide to come in for him. He has to leave. The player of his caliber is going to look at all the scenarios, and he would want to leave. He can go to Manchester City. He can go to Manchester United. He's going to be playing Champions League next football. He might even challenge for the Premier League title as well. So he has to look at all of the scenario. Forest, their owner is not gonna be easy to deal with, and I think in that regard, Manchester City are a bit lucky because of their owners as well. I mean, both of them are going to get along quite easily and quite well, and I think that might help City get over the line with this deal. At the moment, I would say they are the favorites. United will try, they will try their hardest to get Elliot Anderson, but I don't think, if City really want to get this deal over the line, I think they will get it over the line, and I think Forest would more likely sell to Manchester City than sell to Manchester United, because of the owners, and them knowing each other. I think that might end up helping Manchester City get this deal over the line, but it is not going to be cheap. I think it's the first bid. It is rejected quite early. It is just the start. He's going to go to the World Cup. We have the World Cup. I think this deal is going to be dragged on up until the end of the the World Cup. This still will not be solved. I just don't see it, finalizing so quickly. And again, I keep on saying, for me, I think the maximum should be 70 to 75 million. But if there's a two horse race, if both of them, are coming and try, it turns out to be a bidding war. Forest might end up getting those 90 to 100 million pound that they really want, and that's where they value met. Do I think he's a 100 million pound player? I just don't think he's a 100 million pound player. Yet he's an amazing talent. He's going to be a great player for me. I think he is the future of that Manchester City midfield, and he's the future of that English midfield as well. But as of now, he's just 23 years old. He has an amazing season. I think this was he was amazing last year, but this season he's really has shown that he can do everything. He can play, he can play in that creative role as well. He can sit back and dictate the game as well. He can play at 8, he can play at 10, he can play at 6. So he's a multi, a position, a midfielder that a team like Manchester City would really, really like to have. And there are scenarios that really think, for me, I personally think that will push him towards going at Manchester City as well. Of course, I personally think they are going to pay more as well, so that is going to come into effect as well. So overall, I think Elliot Anderson to Manchester City, if at the moment, is like 70% more likely to happen than for him to go to Manchester United. I think they have a 30% chance of getting him over the line. But this saga is not going to end quickly. It is going to keep on going, keep on going. You are going to see bids coming in. They might bid one more time before the World Cup start again, and I personally think that bid is going to get rejected as well. Again, that is going to be under quite less than what Nottingham Forest value Anderson, and it is going to get dragged. But this is going to end up be complete. I would be very, very surprised if the transfer window is over and Elliot Anderson stays at Nottingham Forest. I just don't see that happening. I think it's going to leave. That's for sure. Where he ends up living, and again, I will be very, very sure. If I will be shocked, to be very honest with you, if he doesn't leave for Manchester. I think he's going to go to Manchester, whether he goes to the blue side or the red side. I think that is going to be the big question. Which of them is going to really going to be willing to pay the big bucks, the amount that Forest really, really want. I think that is going to be the main question. If I was a betting man, I would put my money on Manchester City. I think they are going to get him, and I think they are going to get the deal over the line. It is going to take them time, but I think in the end they are going to do, and I think it is going to be a good deal. Forest are going to get a good amount of money. Elliot gets to play, at a better team, playing in the championship, challenging for the title and whatnot. And of course, Manchester City need a player like, Elliot Anderson. He's just 23 years old. He could be their main midfield guy for the next 5, 6, 7 years. Because of how because they are going to replace Silva, and Rodri is going to leave as well, so they need somebody who can be that guy, who can be the glue of that midfield, and I think Elliot Anderson is the perfect choice. So yeah, that's from me in this video. Let me know what you guys think of this entire scenario. Do you think Manchester City are going to get the deal over the line, or do you think Manchester United can surprise everybody and get Elliot Anderson to come to red half of the Manchester? Let me know in the comment section below where do you think he's going to end up. Let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers as quickly as possible, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.